Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. Today we have another question for you on compound interest. In this question we have two cases. So at a certain rate of compound interest, a certain amount of money, right, amounts to Rs 10,580 in 2 years and Rs 12,167 in 3 years. And then we need to find the rate of compound interest and the sum, which is our principal. So if you put certain money in a bank, right, it amounts to 10,580 in 2 years and 12,167 in 3 years. We need to find that money and the rate of compound interest as well. So we have two different cases in this particular question. Okay, the first case is for 2 years and the second case is for 3 years. So for our first case, we have our compound amount is equal to Rs 10,580 and the time period in our first case is 2 years. Similarly, in our second case, we have our compound amount as 12,167 and this is for time 3 years, right? So 3 years. This is T2. And we need to find the principal, okay, the amount of money that we put in the bank and the rate of compound interest, okay. The principal and the rate of interest are same for both of these cases. So we are not going to write 1 and 2 in the subscripts, okay. We are just going to write principal as P and rate as R. Now, we are going to solve this question by using two equations. We are going to make two equations from the first and the second case. So from our first case, we have our compound amount, right? And the formula of compound amount is P bracket 1 plus R divided by 100 whole bracket T, right? So it's T1 for our first case. And we know that the compound amount in our first case is 10,580 equals to, we don't know the principal, bracket 1 plus R divided by 100, bracket close, our time is 2. So we are going to assume this as our first equation. And again, for our second equation, again, we have our C2, right, equals to P bracket 1 plus R divided by 100, bracket close, power T2. Our compound amount 2 is 12,167, right? Equals to, again, we have our P bracket 1 plus R divided by 100 power. Our T2 is 3 years, right? So in our second case, it was 3 years. And we are going to assume this as our second equation. Now, using these two equations, we can easily find the value of P and R, okay? So the way we can do that is by dividing these two equations, okay? So we can either divide equation 1 by equation 2 or equation 2 by equation 1. And since the number in our equation 2, right, is bigger, which is our 12,000 than the 10,000, I want to put this 12,000 in our numerator and this 10,000 in our denominator. So I'm going to divide our equation 2 by equation 1. So dividing equation 2 by equation 1, we get 12,167 divided by 10,580 equals to, we have here P bracket 1 plus R divided by 100 whole power 3 divided by, in our first equation, we have P bracket 1 plus R divided by 100 whole square. So I haven't done anything here. I'm just dividing the second equation by our first equation, okay? So it's 12,000 divided by 10,000 and our cube divided by square. Now, when you divide this 12,167 by 10,580 in your calculator, you get 1.15 equals to, we can cancel this P and that P, okay? And by using the law of indices, what we're going to do over here is we have 1 plus R divided by 100, right? Bracket close. So we have same basis 1 plus R by 100 in the numerator and the denominator. And when we divide these things, the power gets subtracted, right? So I'm going to write 3 minus 2. So I'm doing this by using the law of indices, okay? For example, if you had something like x to the power a divided by x to the power b, it would be x to the power a minus b, right? Here in our case, our x is 1 plus r by 100, okay? This whole thing is our x. So we have 1 plus r by 100 cube divided by 1 plus r by 100 square. And since 1 plus r by 100, which is our base, is same, I'm just subtracting the power. And now we have 1.15 is equal to 1 plus r divided by 100, okay? So 3 minus 2 is 1, and we can just ignore the power 1, and we have 1 plus r by 100. Now, when this plus 1 comes to the left side, it becomes minus 1. So 1.15 minus 1 is 0.15 equals to, we have r, again, r by 100. And now when we move that 100 over to our left side, it becomes multiplied, right? So 0.15 times 100 is equal to r. And we have 0.15 times 100 is 15 equals to r. And therefore, we have our rate of compound interest as 15%. And we have found one of the answers. Now, for the principal, we can easily find the value of p by putting this value of r in one of our equations. So we can find the principal by putting the value of r either in our first equation or our second equation. I'm going to be choosing our first equation because the numbers are small here, so it will be easy for me to do the calculation, okay? So putting the value of r in our first equation, we get, so our first equation was 10,580 equals to p bracket 1 plus r divided by 100 whole square, right? Now we are just going to put the value of r. So we have 10,580 equals to p bracket 1 plus our r was 15 divided by 100 whole square. And we have now 10,580 equals to p bracket 1 plus 15 by 100 is 0.15 whole square. And then again, we have 10,580 equals to p 1 plus 0.15 is 1.15 whole square. And now we can just copy this 10,580 as it is equals to p times 1.15 square is 1.3225. And when we bring that multiplied by 1.3225 to the left side, it's going to be divide. So we have 10,580 divided by 1.3225 is equal to p. And this is going to give us 8,000 is equal to p. And therefore, our principal money or the sum that we deposited in our bank is Rs 8,000. And then we have found the value of p as well. So in this way, the main key to solving these type of questions is creating two equations from these two cases. And then you divide those two equations, right, by putting the bigger number in the numerator and the smaller number in the denominator to make it easy, right? And when you do that, you can easily cancel the principal money. And when you cancel that p, you can find the value of r. After finding the value of r, what you do is you put the value of r that you just got in any of the equations that you have. And then by putting the value of r, you can easily find the p as well. So in this way, you can find the principal, the sum of money, as well as the rate of interest, okay? So if you enjoyed our video, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for future maths videos.